3 months pregnant, Ethan made me give Tiffany a blood transfusion, and I lost my baby. Ethan's expression was detached. Sage, you're still young. You can have more children later. Tiffany knelt before me. Sister, are you blaming me for the loss of your child? When no one else could see, her voice dripping with venom, she said, I intentionally caused you to lose your baby. I wasn't in a car accident at all, I just couldn't stand you. I raised my hand and slapped her. Ethan shielded her in his arms, cursing me and calling me a monster. After I was discharged from the hospital, the wedding, originally planned for us, proceeded as scheduled, only I wasn't the bride. On the day of their wedding, I attended in formal attire. Ethan, Tiffany, enjoy the grand gift I've given you. One in the hospital, the moment I opened my eyes, I saw Tiffany clinging intimately in Ethan's arms. Their lips were practically touching. A violent coughing fit seized me, immediately ruining their moment. Ethan's gaze swept over me with an icy intensity, his face a mask of displeasure. But my throat was desperately dry, and I couldn't control it at all, coughing several more times. Suddenly, a wrenching pain shot through my stomach. I asked in a hoarse voice, Is my baby still here? Hearing this, Ethan's expression softened slightly. He said coldly, Sage, you're still young. You can have more children later. He paused, then continued, Don't worry, when I said I'd marry you because you were pregnant, it was just a casual remark. Even though the baby's gone, I'll still marry you. Ethan's indifferent attitude made it seem as if the child who died inside me wasn't his own flesh and blood. The thought of my helplessness on the blood donation chair that day brought tears rushing to my eyes. Sister, are you blaming me for the loss of your child? Tiffany's eyes were red-rimmed. Before I could respond, she dropped to her knees with a thud, crying as if her heart would break. Sister, I'm so sorry. It's all my fault for being in that car accident that day. If it weren't for me, Sister's baby wouldn't be gone. With that, she crawled towards me and desperately clutched my foredrip arm. Sister, hit me. If hitting me helps you calm down, I'd willingly accept death at your hands. Ouch. I cried out in pain. I was about to tell her she was squeezing my foresight, but Ethan walked over and forcefully pulled Tiffany's hand away. Blood immediately welled up on the back of my hand. But after Ethan helped Tiffany to her feet, he glared at me fiercely, his eyes filled with resentment. Then, he pulled Tiffany into his embrace, gently patting her back. This isn't your fault, Tiffany. Blames baby for being unlucky, for not surviving. Besides, Sage owes you this. She's occupied your place as the Wallace family's heiress for so many years. Now, it's just a little blood transfusion for you. With that, Ethan turned to look at me, his voice devoid of the tenderness he'd just shown Tiffany. Sage, aren't you fond of money? I'll give you 10 million, consider it payment for giving Tiffany blood. Then, his gaze hardened, a threat in his eyes. If you ever dare to use this to bully Tiffany again, I swear I won't let you off. After Tiffany left the room, the nurse who had been waiting outside finally dared to enter. Seeing the blood still gushing from the back of my hand, the nurse quickly called for a doctor to stop the bleeding. But the wound in my heart would never heal. 3 years ago, Ethan hadn't yet made a name for himself in his career, and I was still the carefree heiress of the Wallace family. Ever since high school, we were the envy of all our friends, a model couple. But who could have imagined that Mr. and Mrs. Wallace, my mom and dad who had once doted on me, would forcefully break us apart just because of Ethan's family background. To ensure Ethan and I completely severed ties, they forced me to say many hurtful things to him. If I didn't they threatened to break Ethan's legs. I had no choice but to painfully break up with him. 3 years later, Ethan succeeded in his startup, achieving great success, while I was informed that I was actually a child from a humble background, switched at birth. I felt like I had plunged from the lofty clouds into a mud pit. But just then, Ethan suddenly sought me out, asking to get back together. Only later did I learn that from the moment I first broke up with him, he had hated me fiercely. He never listened to my explanations and just decided I was a shallow, materialistic gold digger. After recovering for a whole half-month in the hospital, I was finally discharged today. I immediately messaged my best friend, Chloe, who was abroad, telling her I planned to leave here and settle overseas. Before I left, though, I still wanted to say goodbye to Mr. and Mrs. Wallace. After all, they had raised me for so many years. The moment I returned to the Wallace estate, I saw Tiffany with a group of heiresses hosting a party in the courtyard. Tiffany spotted me at once and walked towards me warmly. I immediately grew wary, because every time she approached me so enthusiastically before, it never ended well. I secretly turned on my phone and activated the recording function. Sister, I heard you were discharged today, so I specifically organized a discharge party for you. Are you happy, sister? Tiffany pulled my hand, smiling sweetly. Before I could speak, she suddenly embraced me and whispered, Sage, I intentionally caused you to lose your baby with Ethan. Actually, I wasn't in a car accident at all that day. I just couldn't stand you being pregnant with Ethan's child. Before she finished speaking, my eyes were instantly filled with hatred, and I instinctively pushed away her tightly gripping hand. But the next second, she deliberately fell backward into the swimming pool. A flicker of triumph flashed in her eyes just before she dropped, but my mind was consumed by what she had just said, and I didn't even notice that Mr. Wallace, Mrs. Wallace, and Ethan had already arrived. You ungrateful daughter. Mr. Wallace slapped my face hard. Blood immediately flowed from the corner of my mouth. But things were far from over. After rescued Tiffany from the swimming pool, Mr. Wallace was even more enraged. He kicked me to my knees, demanding I apologize to Tiffany. I didn't push her, she jumped in herself, and she killed my. I forced back tears and frantically picked up my phone, but didn't listen to my explanation at all. He grabbed me by the collar and brutally threw me into the swimming pool. He knew I had almost drowned before, and he knew how afraid I was of water. Yet he still threw me into the water just to spite Tiffany. The moment I hit the water, I choked several times. I struggled and thrashed desperately in the water, but no one around was willing to help me. Meanwhile, Tiffany, who had just been rescued from the shore, was now clinging tightly to Ethan, crying as if her heart would break. Sister still won't forgive me. She blames me for the loss of her baby, it's all my fault. With that, she made to jump back into the water. Anyway, sister saved my life. Ethan, mom and dad, just let me die. Only then will sister calm down. The moment Tiffany said this, Mrs. Wallace, who had just been worried about me falling into the water, immediately shifted her attention back to Tiffany. Tiffany, how can you be so kind? Your life is worth more than 10 of Sage's. How can you be so foolish, always taking all the blame yourself, she said, tenderly wiping Tiffany's tears. Mr. Wallace's eyes were cold. She brought it on herself, why bother with her? I turned my last hope towards Ethan, but he coldly averted his gaze, then put his arm around Tiffany's shoulders and walked towards the mansion. You're already frail, Tiffany. This ordeal will probably give you a cold. You need to go back and take a hot bath right away. My heart, like my body, sank completely to the bottom of the pool. A month later, I woke up in the hospital again. I picked up my phone and saw I had long missed the time I was supposed to meet my best friend. My best friend must have been calling me nonstop for the past month. I slowly moved my body and sat up. Just as I was about to call my best friend back, Ethan's call came in, and my finger accidentally pressed the answer button. You're awake? His tone was unreadable. Yes. I said calmly, if there's nothing important, I'm hanging up. Ethan didn't immediately hang up as he usually would. Instead, he said somewhat solicitously, our wedding is in 3 days. It had been a long time since Ethan had spoken to me in that tone. I had a feeling there was a hidden meaning in his words. Sure enough, his next sentence instantly sent chills down my spine. That jewelry design draft you prepared for the competition last time? I gave it to Tiffany to use in the competition. For he then added, anyway, you were still in a coma, so it would have been a waste to leave it unused. It's better to give Tiffany the chance to win. I instantly broke down, unable to speak. He naturally noticed my distress. His tone was somewhat impatient. Tiffany hasn't yet settled the score with you for pushing her into the swimming pool last time. Consider this design draft a lesson learned. Let's see if you'll dare to bully Tiffany again. Ethan, you know how long I spent drawing that design draft? A whole week. I barely slept. I finally couldn't hold back and broke down crying. Enough. I'll transfer money to you, okay? 20 million, is that enough? Ethan interrupted me furiously. I fell silent instantly, all my words caught in my throat. But in his eyes, this was just me being greedy for money. You truly are still so fond of money, Ethan scoffed, then hung up the phone. The next second, 20 million was transferred to my account, but I felt an unprecedented insult. Just then, an elderly female doctor pushed open the door and entered. Her gaze was stern as she looked at me. So young and already ruining your body like this? After your previous miscarriage and congenital anemia, it's already difficult for you to conceive. She snapped the medical record shut. Daring to swim in this weather, you intentionally destroyed your chances of becoming a mother. My face instantly turned ashen, and my lips trembled with agitation. What? Are you saying I can't get pregnant anymore? Now you're scared? Too late. Help me, please help me. I don't want to lose the right to be a mother. I bit my lip hard, but tears were already streaming down my face. My hands desperately gripped the female doctor's arm, as if clutching a lifesaver. The female doctor gently pushed my hands away, then sighed helplessly. With proper care in the future, it might still be possible to conceive. With that, she left the room. Looking at the transaction details I'd just received, the hatred in my eyes was uncontrollable, carving itself deeply into my heart. After being discharged from the hospital, I booked another plane ticket to travel abroad. This plane ticket was for 3 days later, the same day Ethan and I were supposed to have our wedding. Soon, the 3 days arrived as scheduled. Just moments ago, I received a message from Ethan. He said I didn't need to attend the wedding, Tiffany would take my place. But he promised he would get legally married to me tomorrow, making me the legitimate Mrs. Ethan. But, I'm leaving, and everything you've put me through, I will repay twofold. At 2:25 p.m., I boarded the plane bound for abroad. Ethan, Tiffany, enjoy the grand gift I've given you. I parted my lips slightly, and at that moment, the plane began to take off. 5 at the wedding venue. Tiffany curved her beautiful, almond-shaped eyes, looking at the man who was about to place a ring on her finger. A faint dimple appeared by her cheek. But the next second, the man's face suddenly changed, and the ring in his hand clattered to the floor. Ethan, are you all right? Tiffany's smile instantly morphed into worry. Ethan didn't know what was wrong, he had just felt a tightness in his chest. Seeing concern, he forced a reassuring smile. It's nothing, my hand slipped. Suddenly, the phone in his pocket vibrated several times in quick succession. Under normal circumstances, he would never have taken out his phone in such a setting. But today, for some reason, he had a hunch that what his phone was signaling was important. Under the bewildered gazes of numerous guests, Ethan took out his phone. It was a message from Sage. Ethan's heart skipped a beat, and he clicked on it as if possessed. He saw that Sage had sent an audio recording, chat logs from 3 years ago, and a transaction record also from 3 years ago. At the end, Sage had also added, believe it or not, but I trust Mr. Gu has the means to verify the authenticity of these matters. Ethan quickly opened the transaction and chat logs sent by Sage. The transfer was from Sage to Tiffany 3 years ago, 500,000, the same amount as the startup fund Tiffany had supposedly lent him. Not only that, but some chat logs were also attached below the transfer details. The general meaning was that Sage had originally given him the 500,000 through Tiffany, but over the years, Tiffany had fraudulently claimed credit for it. Moreover, Sage's breakup with him was entirely due to the coercion of Mr. and Mrs. Wallace. It turned out that Sage had said those things only to protect him. Ethan's face was frighteningly pale. But's attention was entirely on the guests below the stage, and she didn't notice Ethan's changed expression at all. Ethan, is there something important from the company? If it's not too urgent, let's finish the wedding ceremony first, everyone is watching. Ethan ignored Tiffany's words. His finger tapped on the last audio recording. The recording was very short, but it completely revealed the conversation where Tiffany faked a car accident and deliberately caused Sage to lose her baby. Ethan's face was frighteningly grim. Tiffany, do you have anything to explain? No. I never said such things, this audio recording is fake. Tiffany quickly denied it, but the fleeting panic in her eyes was immediately caught by Ethan. Ethan's expression grew even darker. He gripped Tiffany's neck. You'd better pray that none of this is true. 6 With that, Ethan flung Tiffany to the ground and left furiously, ignoring the guests below. When had Tiffany ever suffered such humiliation? Ever since she was recognized as a Wallace family member, she had been doted on every moment. But now, because of that bitch Sage. Thinking this, Tiffany bawled uncontrollably on stage, completely abandoning her image. After flying for over 20 hours, the plane finally landed the next afternoon. Sage, honey, my sweet girl. You finally came to be with me. Before I could react, a bright figure rushed into my arms. It was Chloe, my best friend. I missed you terribly, honey, Chloe said, cupping my face and kissing me. All right, stop kissing me. You're getting drool all over my face. I pretended to be disgusted as I wiped my face, but the curve of my lips already betrayed me. Chloe naturally knew I was joking. She huffed in feigned annoyance. It seems like after all this time, you don't love me anymore. I laughed and stroked her head, as if soothing a pet. Who wouldn't love you? I'm just afraid if I show too much love, you'll kiss me to death. Chloe's face flushed. You always tease me. After a while of playful banter with Chloe, I finally settled into my accommodation, arranged by her. As soon as I lay down on the bed, I called a trusted contact back home. Help me take someone down. I parted my lips slightly. Who? A husky male voice came from the other end of the line. Ethan, a company founded just 3 years ago. Consider it done. I curled my lips slightly. I'll provide you with 10 brand new design drafts over the next year. The other end of the line was silent for 2 seconds, then the voice became very excited. We'll definitely exceed expectations. After hanging up the phone, I also sent the original design sketches of the work Ethan had stolen last time to the competition organizers. Having done all this, I contentedly took a hot bath. I slept soundly that night. The next day, Chloe arranged a get-together for me. I couldn't refuse, so that evening I put on elegant makeup and went to the appointment. Stepping into the private room at the bar, Chloe immediately waved at me. Honey, come sit here, we're starting the games. Hearing this, I quickly walked over and sat down. Once I was seated, Chloe leaned close to my ear and whispered, "Do you know what they all do?" I paused, then shook my head. Chloe's lips curved into a sly smile. "They're the blind dates I found for you." 7. I then looked at the other 6 people at the table in surprise. I have to admit, Chloe had excellent taste. Each one was impressively tall and strikingly handsome, and the 6 of them had 6 distinct styles. I quietly gave Chloe a thumbs up. A hint of triumph flickered in Chloe's eyes, then she added, "Don't think they're just pretty faces. I've checked them all out, and they're practically top tier in their respective fields." At this, Chloe tilted her chin. "Especially the one in the corner. He's a prodigy in jewelry design, just like you. You weren't at the last international design, were you? Well, he was the champion of that competition." I then noticed the person sitting in the corner. He leaned back lazily on the sofa, his head slightly tilted, stray strands of hair falling over his strong brow. He had a straight nose and thin lips. Under his shirt, unbuttoned 2 ways, the lines of his abs were faintly visible. Suddenly, his gaze met mine. He curled his lips slightly, and his clear, ink-like eyes made my heart involuntarily race. I quickly looked away, my face flushed bright red. "Wow. Are you sure he's not a model?" I whispered very softly, and shamelessly swallowed. Chloe chuckled at my reaction. "I knew you'd like this type. Hey you, Jasper, come sit here." Before I could even catch my breath, Chloe was already arranging for Jasper to move to the seat beside me. I nervously pinched Chloe's thigh, but I kept my voice even lower. "What are you doing?" Chloe let out a mischievous laugh. "Don't you like him? I'm just getting you closer to him." In the games that followed, I gradually calmed my nerves. But with Chloe's blatant matchmaking, I still couldn't help but feel a little nervous. So much so that when the game master, called out my numbered card for a penalty, I didn't even react. "Sage, it's your turn, why are you spacing out?" Chloe nudged me with her arm. I finally came to my senses and asked the king what penalty I had to do. Seeing my reaction, the king didn't suggest any special penalty, he just asked me to drink a glass of wine. But in my current physical condition, alcohol was the last thing I should touch. Seeing my hesitation, Chloe also realized. She was about to offer to drink it for me when Jasper, who was beside me, already picked up the glass of wine and downed it. I glanced at his Adam's apple as he swallowed, then silently admired in my heart, "That's charismatic." I drank it for her. After drinking, Jasper's clear voice brushed past my ear. My face flushed slightly, and I thanked him. After the game, Chloe deliberately tried to set Jasper and me up. So she, who was usually capable of drinking anyone under the table, feigned drunkenness, and with a few words, entrusted me to Jasper. After I saw Chloe into a car, we stood in awkward silence. Finally, Jasper broke the silence. "Let's go," I called a designated driver. "He should be here by now." I quickly assented, then followed Jasper into the car. Once in the car, I initiated a conversation, expressing my gratitude for his care that evening. "Don't you recognize me, senior?" Jasper raised an eyebrow. "Huh?" Caught off guard by his sudden question, my mind went blank for a moment. "Do we know each other?" I asked, confused. Jasper sighed, feigning disappointment. "I went abroad to study jewelry design just for you, senior. I can't believe you've forgotten me." The moment Jasper said that, long-forgotten memories instantly resurfaced. "You're the one from back then." Jasper finished my sentence. "Yes, I confessed my feelings to you back then, senior, but you already had a boyfriend. Later, I persisted with pestering you, asking how I could get you to break up with your boyfriend and give me a chance. I remember you said that if I could win the international design, you'd give me a chance." At this, Jasper leaned closer to me. "So, senior, are you willing to give me a chance now?" Feelings proximity, my face flushed bright red. I felt like I was on fire. Seeing my reaction, Jasper chuckled softly, then casually changed the subject. In the conversation that followed, Jasper didn't bring up that topic again at all. Instead, he just discussed insights on jewelry design with me from beginning to end. I was surprised to discover how perfectly our philosophies on jewelry design aligned, and our predictions for trends were uncannily similar. Talking with Jasper felt like talking to another version of myself. The entire conversation left me with a wonderfully invigorating feeling. I didn't even realize the car had already arrived at my doorstep. Jasper got out first, then opened the car door for me. Jasper didn't leave until he had watched me go inside. Once inside, my racing heart finally calmed down a great deal. Suddenly, my phone rang. I picked up the phone and automatically pressed the answer button. Sage, you bitch. Tiffany's shrill curses erupted from the other end of the line. I curved my lips into a sneer and retorted sarcastically. So, how do you like the gift I sent you? Are you satisfied? Hearing this, she cursed loudly. The arrogance and composure she usually displayed in front of me completely vanished. I had no time to appreciate her hideous expression, so I said calmly, instead of wasting your time cursing me, you'd be better off thinking about how to clear yourself of this stain of plagiarism. But most likely, you're finished. The biggest taboo in jewelry design is plagiarism. Didn't you love comparing yourself to me? Now you can't even survive in this industry. What are you going to compete with me with now? With that, I hung up the phone and then blocked her number. Then I gleefully enjoyed the top 2 trending topics back home. 9 shocking the jewelry industry for 100 years. International design champion someone's original sketches. The party actually the champion of the competition last. Plagiarizer and plagiarized to be sisters? But when I saw the third trending topic below the first 2, the smile on my lips froze slightly. High scandal. Tiffany her at the wedding to be dumped on the spot. Ethan, you're still so ruthless. Back then, just because I broke up with you, you humiliated her for an entire year. Now that you know the truth, you're tormenting Tiffany. But you'll never realize that you are the one most at fault. If you hadn't fueled the fire, Tiffany wouldn't have killed my 3-month-old baby. Thinking this, I sent a message to my trusted contact to urge them on. Ethan, this time, I'm going to make you lose everything. The next morning, I was awakened by a doorbell and knocking. Suppressing my morning grumpiness, I opened the door. Ethan, whose eyes were bloodshot, his eyes suddenly lit up the moment he saw me. I ignored his expression and said with cold sarcasm, "Why are you guarding the door like a dog?" Ethan froze for a moment, his eyes filled with disbelief. After all, other than when we broke up, this was the first time I had spoken to him so harshly. Why, Sage, don't say that about me. Ethan said in a hoarse voice and made a move to embrace her. I quickly dodged him, a strong flicker of disgust in my eyes. Ethan seemed stung by the disgust in my eyes. He explained, his words incoherent, "I'm sorry, Sage, I didn't know, I really didn't know. I thought you broke up with me because I was poor back then." Before he could finish, I scoffed, "So what if I broke up with you back then because I thought you were poor? So that's your reason for hurting me all this past year? Ethan, you're truly disgusting." Ethan was instantly choked, unable to speak. It was a while before he spoke again. "But why didn't you tell me from the beginning? If only you had told me, we could have been happy together. Did you ever give me a chance to speak?" I retorted. "Do you know, Ethan? Do you know how happy I was the day you suggested getting back together? But what about you? What did you do? You slept with Tiffany," his neck covered in hickeys. "You kept saying you'd marry me, but it was only to humiliate me. Did you give me a chance to speak?" Having said all the words I had held inside, I felt a great sense of relief. Ethan was speechless, having been cornered by my words. He could only keep apologizing to me, begging for her forgiveness. I simply closed the door with indifference, then put on my earbuds and went back to catch up on sleep. 3 days later, Jasper asked me out. But when I opened the door, I was surprised to find Ethan was still waiting outside my door. Only this time he was completely drunk, with several alcohol bottles piled up by the door. Seeing me open the door, Ethan immediately stood up. Before I could react, reeking of alcohol, he embraced me. "Sage, I missed you so much." With that, he even made to kiss me. I quickly slapped him. Ethan froze for a moment, his tone was somewhat wronged. "Sage, please forgive me. If you're willing to forgive me, I'll do anything. What if I asked you to pay for her dead sea? Hild?" I gave a cold laugh, but the hatred in my eyes was undeniable. Ethan's face changed slightly, but he couldn't utter a word. Just then, Jasper walked over. He looked at Ethan, and a hint of surprise flashed in his eyes. "When did you get so down and out, senior?" Rejected after trying to get back together, huh? Hearing this, Ethan reacted like a wolf whose tail had been stepped on. He stiffened his neck, fuming. What nonsense are you spouting? Was he wrong? I retorted with a sneer. Ethan hadn't expected me to side with someone else. A flicker of hurt crossed his eyes. Sage, are you with him? Who is he? Are you not getting back with me because of him? So what if I am? I scoffed. But my words provoked Ethan. He suddenly lashed out, throwing a punch at Jasper. Jasper was caught off guard by the punch. But the next second, I swung an alcohol bottle from the ground and smashed it onto Ethan's head. Ethan immediately collapsed to the ground. You're fierce, senior. Jasper, with his right cheek swollen, gave me a thumbs up. I managed a small smile, then called for an ambulance from the local hospital. Ethan couldn't die at my doorstep. After the ambulance took Ethan away, I brought Jasper inside to tend to the injuries on his face. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that what I said would get you hit. Well, since that's the case. Jasper's eyes crinkled at the corners. Shouldn't you treat me to dinner, senior? I paused at his words, then smiled. Yes, I should treat you to a nice meal to thank you properly. Then I want to eat your homemade meal, senior. A hint of cunning flickered in Jasper's eyes. I mean, I can. My expression was hesitant. But my cooking might not be very good. It's fine. As long as it's made by you, senior, I'll love it. Jasper's lips curved slightly upwards. After woke up in the hospital, he quickly glanced beside the bed. After not seeing Sage's figure, a flicker of disappointment crossed his eyes. He was just about to go through the discharge paperwork and find out who that man was with Sage that day when his call suddenly rang. 11 It was his assistant. He was in no mood to answer the call right now. His mind was completely occupied by Sage. But after he hung up, the other party persistently called a second time. Ethan impatiently answered the call. What is it? It's bad, Mr. Gu. Many of the clients who used to cooperate with our company have suddenly all announced their termination of contracts. Some are even willing to pay high penalty fees just to cancel their agreements. Ethan's brow furrowed tightly. What's going on? Why didn't you call me earlier? The assistant on the other end of the line sounded a bit wronged. Mr. Gu, I called you 3 days ago, but I couldn't get through. 3 days ago? Ethan glanced at his phone. He had been unconscious for 3 whole days. Sage's smash was surprisingly ruthless. The thought made the still healing wound on his head throb faintly. He held his head. Understood, I'm coming back now. With that, Ethan hung up the phone, then booked the earliest flight. But perhaps due to the recent bad weather, the earliest flight back was not until tomorrow afternoon. Ethan could only stay there, fretting anxiously. I had been abroad for over a week. That day, after finishing a meeting with an international client, I walked out of the coffee shop only to run head-on into Tiffany. Her eyes were red-rimmed, and her gaze towards me was filled with hatred. I frowned slightly, sensing Tiffany might do something extreme. I quickly ran in the opposite direction. But pursued me closely. Looking back, I saw her holding a small knife in her right hand. My heart clenched. I wanted to run faster, but due to my anemia, I couldn't run quickly at all. I hadn't run far when my face turned completely pale, watching Tiffany close in step by step. And out of fear, I accidentally tripped and fell to the ground. Tiffany still caught up, but she didn't attack immediately. She looked at me, then suddenly laughed maniacally, her face contorted. Sage, why do you have to compete with me for everything, snatch everything from me? If you hadn't sent that message to Ethan, I would have already completed my wedding with him. But now, because of you, Ethan doesn't want me anymore. At this, Tiffany suddenly choked up and burst into tears. Why? Why is it that Ethan likes you just for being Sage, standing here, while I've spent 3 whole years and still haven't earned his affection? As she spoke, Tiffany's face grew even more distorted, and she fiercely lunged at me with the knife. But my body was too weak. Let alone run, even speaking was an effort. I could only watch helplessly as the knife in her hand came towards me. 12 Just then, Ethan, who hadn't yet returned to the country, suddenly rushed forward and stood in front of me. The knife, as a result, pierced Ethan's body. He grunted in pain, then kicked Tiffany to the ground. Jasper, who was a step behind Ethan, quickly ran over and helped me up. I then fainted in his arms. I don't know how much time passed before I woke up again. The moment I opened my eyes, I saw Jasper's handsome face, magnified, staring intently at me. Water. I coughed to clear my throat. Seeing this, Jasper quickly poured me a glass of warm water. After I finished the water, Jasper finally spoke. His tone was no longer his usual joking one. Instead, it held a hint of seriousness. "Senior, I almost thought I was going to lose you." I froze for a moment, then understood what he meant, and the tips of my ears flushed slightly red. But he didn't change the subject as he usually would. Instead, he suddenly hugged me very tightly. "Sage, please give me a chance to take care of you. I own 10 companies and 5 mansions. I'm also still young and strong, so you, senior, can order me around however you like." Before he could finish, I hugged him back and softly said, "Okay." The last time I heard any news about Ethan was through a call from my trusted contact. He said that Ethan's kidney was damaged by that knife wound, and he would likely have to live with a catheter for the rest of his life. As for Tiffany, Ethan had kicked her in the uterus, which later led to severe uterine atrophy, rendering her infertile for life. She was also sentenced to 5 years in prison for intentional assault. However, with my trusted contact's care, Tiffany would likely endure a hellish existence during those 5 years. Mr. and Mrs. Wallace were heartbroken with worry over Tiffany's actions. At their age, their family had originally been wealthy enough to benefit generations. But because of Tiffany, the Wallace family's reputation was ruined, and many former partners canceled their collaborations with them. Wallace's stock plummeted even further, and the Wallace family fallen from high society to a humble one. Ethan's company was also completely destroyed with the help of my trusted contact, and Mr. and Mrs. Wallace vented all their hatred onto Ethan. Mr. Wallace even had people break Ethan's legs before sending him to a remote, dangerous location. 2 years after Ethan was sent to a remote, dangerous location, Jasper and I got legally married. 3 years later, thanks to Jasper's continuous, meticulous care, I finally became pregnant again. 9 months later, my child was born safely. My life had only just begun, and Ethan was merely a stain on my past. Life is long, not all encounters have a resolution. But the right person will surely be waiting for you in the long river of time. Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments section. Feel free to share your views, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.